Welcome back to the reaction zone. Today we are going to attempt to solve this question on the board using Gay-Lussac'S law. The question is as follows. 60 cm cube of hydrogen is packed with 20 cm cube of oxygen at 100 degrees Celsius and 1 atmospheric pressure. Find the total volume of the residual gases. This question is a previous question from JAM in the year 1982. To solve this particular question, the first thing is to write the balanced equation for the reaction between hydrogen and oxygen. 2 moles of hydrogen will combine with 1 mole of oxygen to give 2 moles of steam, that is water in a gaseous state. Now, applying Gay-Lussac'S law of combining volumes. Applying Gay-Lussac'S law of combining volumes, this equation can be interpreted as 2 cm cube of hydrogen combines with 1 cm cube of oxygen to give 2 cm cube of steam. For us to get the volume of the residual gases, we need to first of all know how much of hydrogen and oxygen combine. Also, we need to know how much of steam is formed, and also if there is any excess or unreacted reactants. These are the things that will enable us to calculate the total volume of the residual gases. Before we do that, let us indicate the volume of hydrogen and the volume of oxygen that we have before they are sparked together. So, before spark, the volume of hydrogen is 60 centimeter cube. The volume of oxygen is 20 centimeter cube. And for steam, it is nil. Why? Because steam will not be formed until hydrogen gas and oxygen gas are sparked together. So at this point, the spark has not occurred yet. During the spark, what do we have? For us to get how much of hydrogen is packed with a particular volume of oxygen, we need to look at the combining volume. The combining volume is in the ratio of 2:1. Since the combining volume is in the ratio of 2:1, it also means that the volume of oxygen and the volume of hydrogen that combine together during the spark must also be in the ratio of 2:1. The fact that oxygen has 1 here clearly tells us that oxygen is the limiting reagent. The limiting reagent is the reagent that is used up in a chemical reaction. So, from this we know that during the spark, this 20 centimeter cube of oxygen will be used up, since oxygen is the limiting reagent. So the question now is, how much of this volume of hydrogen will 20 cm of oxygen combine with? In other words, how much of this 60 cm cube of hydrogen will combine with 20 cm cube of oxygen? And like I said earlier on, the volume of hydrogen and the volume of oxygen that will combine during the spark must obey Gay-Lussac'S law for this reaction, which is the ratio of 2:1. Now that we know that the 20 cm of oxygen will be used up, what volume of hydrogen will combine with 20 cm of oxygen to maintain the ratio of 2:1? That will be 40 cm. So it means that during the spark, 40 cm of hydrogen will combine with this 20 cm of oxygen here. Now, when you consider the product, the ratio of combination is 2:1:2. So to ensure that this ratio is maintained, if 40 cm of hydrogen is combined with 20 cm of oxygen, it means that 40 cm of steam will be formed. If you divide across by 20, you will still get the ratio 2:1:2. So like I said, during the spark, the volumes of the reactants that combine, as well as the volume of the product that is formed, must be in the ratio in which they combine, which is 2:1:2. Having gotten this, let us find the volume of gases that are left after the spark. For the reactant, you subtract. For the product, you add. 60 minus 40 will give us 20 cm³ here. This will give us nil, meaning that oxygen is used up. And that should not come as a surprise because it is the limiting reagent. Here, 0 plus 40 gives us 40 cm³. With this information, we can now calculate the total volume of the residual gases. The total volume of the residual gases is a sum of the volume of products as well as the volume of any excess reactant. So, the total volume of residual gases is equal to the volume of product plus the volume of excess or unreacted reactants. The volume of excess or unreacted reactants. The volume of product formed in this case is 40 cm³. The volume of excess reactant is the 20 cm³ of hydrogen that is left after the spark. That is plus 20 cm³. And this will give a total of 60 cm³. So the total volume of residual gases is 60 cm³. Thank you for watching and see you some other time.